What up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Matt Wyatt. So I went out to go see the new Marvel's Sonyverse movie called Madam Web, and it's starring Dakota Johnson. So her character is playing a New York paramedic who begins to demonstrate signs of clairvoyance. She's forced to challenge revelations about her past. She sees into the future about these three girls who are about to get murdered by this main villain, who is Ezekiel, and she has no other choice but to protect these three girls. But the reason why that Ezekiel is one hunting these three girls down, because 20 years into the future, they become superheroes, the Spider Women, and they're the ones that kill Ezekiel, and he wants to prevent that from happening. So he does what he can is to hunt the three girls down, and that's the plot of the film. Now, I'm familiar with the Madam Web character because I had my first introduction to the character was from the 1990s animated series Spider-Man. And I thought her character was so interesting because she had the ability to see into the future, and she can be able to see everything across the multiverse. And I thought her character was intriguing. And I was not very excited for Madam Web because Sony has lately have been putting out a lot of stinkers outside of Spider-Man films, especially with Venom 1 and 2, which I thought those movies were garbage. I know of a lot of people that really enjoy those Venom movies, but I thought that they did the Venom character dirty, and the jokes and the action were not landing well, and it was not fun at all. I didn't find it fun, but a lot of people did. And we can all agree that the Sony, what they put out with Morbius, that was with Jared Leto, was so unwatchable and boring, and one of the worst comic book movies they have ever made. The only couple of things that we can enjoy and laugh about it is the memes. It's Morbin time, and the main villain Matt Smith doing the dance scene. That's the only thing that we had fun with, and it was hilarious, and we all make fun of it. But other than that, they put out a lot of stinkers. So I was very apprehensive with Madam Web, and I knew, and we find out that Dakota Johnson was going to be the star of the film, and it was kind of odd that they chose to have her to be a younger Madam Web character, and it's supposed to be another Elseworld Sonyverse Marvel film. And yeah, it was an odd choice, but I mean, I'm not bagging on Dakota Johnson as an actress. I think she's very talented, but even though I'm not like the biggest Dakota Johnson fan for me, but that's just my opinion. When they put out that first trailer, it was so wooden and dry and not very exciting, and it didn't intrigue my excitement level to see this movie. They literally put out one trailer, and that was it. They didn't even put out more than one because there are a lot of scenes in this film that were not good enough to put out a second trailer, and they only put out more TV spots, and the marketing was so poorly handled. And also, they put out the review embargo a day before the film's release because they knew that Sony thinks that this movie is going to suck and it's going to get a lot of backlash, and they had zero faith in this movie. And look, when they come out with the review embargo the day before its release, and it's to tell you that the studios don't have faith in that this movie's gonna be any good. And after coming out of the theater, I will say that this movie sucked so bad. It was the biggest piece of dog shit I have seen in a while.
Got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
Oh my God. Like, I was expecting it to be bad, but I wasn't expecting it to be this worse.
Okay, here's a little query. What was that?
Oh my God. It was completely utter a biggest headache. The dialogue was atrocious. Dakota Johnson's character, Madam Web, Dakota Johnson in this movie didn't look like she really gave two squirts of shit to be in this film. She just phoned it in completely, and the dialogue was dry and very wooden. The character dynamic with these three girls in Madam Web was so bad. It felt like the director who made this movie looked like they didn't know how to work with these dynamic of these characters. And Madam Web became the worst protector and put these three girls in jeopardy for no apparent reason. I mean, there's a lot more I can go into it, but I don't want to spoil it too much. But these three girls, played by Cindy Sweeney, which you may have known her from Euphoria, Celeste O'Connor, which is you know her from Ghostbusters Afterlife, and Isabela Merced, which you may know her from the Transformer movies, and she was also I believe she's also in another film. I can't remember the top of my head, but she's also going to be in James Gunn's Superman Legacy. The three dynamic was just wasn't working for me. I thought it was so stupid. They were so unlikable and very dumb and the worst choices ever. Which there was a lot of plot conveniences that didn't really make a whole lot of sense, and there's a major plot holes that were so laughable that I rolled my eyes. And Adam Scott in this movie, which he's playing the partner with Dakota Johnson character, with Madam Webb's character, and he's playing Ben Parker, which is Uncle Ben. And it's not a major spoiler. It's on IMDb, so they've already spoiled it. Yeah, he's playing Ben Parker, and this movie's supposed to be taking place in 2003, and it's never really clear which universe this is in. And look, I understand that there's not a lot of connect tissue from these other iterations of Spider-Man, and you have another surprise character appearance, Emma Roberts, who's playing Mary Parker, who is supposed to be the mother of Peter Parker, and and she's pregnant of an unborn child, which we all know who that is. And for some reason that the studio would not allow them to say the name Peter Parker, and they toyed around with what he's going to be named, and it just felt so stupid and so like foreshadowing that just really didn't make a whole lot of sense. Like the action felt so lazy, the humor was so poorly executed. You had an interesting idea, but it just wasn't working, and the screenplay felt like it was written by AI. And I'm not saying that's that's what it is. I'm just saying that that's how it felt, judging from the dialogue standpoint and the story standpoint. It's so generic and so boring. I mean, we get a little bit more of the backstory with Madame Web about her mother exploring from the Amazons in Peru, studying the whole spiders and how much they can change the world. And Ezekiel wants to take that and have his own like power of everything. And it was just so stupid. The villain Ezekiel was so bad. The acting and the dialogue was so poorly handled. Because I can tell watching from the movie that it looked like his character was so full of ADR, and it just so felt so lazy. The costume design looked terrible. He looked like a cheap Walmart version of Spider-Man. Like I get his motives to hunt down these three girls, but it just felt like it was so dry, and it felt like such an afterthought. And I didn't really give a shit about his arc. He was so boring and so dull. I mean, look, there's a lot more I can say about this movie without spoiling it too much, but this is a minor spoiler. If you're expecting these three girls to like show off their powers and have them become superhero come to fruition that you see in the trailers, all that shots that you saw was all more of a vision in the dream that is going to be set 20 years from now. That's it. This is like a long origin story from beginning, middle, and end, and the third act finale was so anticlimactic, and it was so laughable. There are a lot of parts in this film that so felt over plot conveniences, a lot of stuff that didn't really make any logical sense, especially with the three girls that made a lot of stupid, dumb, poor decisions, and they became so unlikable and super annoying. Overall, this was another worst comic book movies I've seen in a while, and it's a movie that I would not encourage you to go out and see in the theater. It was really bad that I had my head scratching and had my eyes rolling, and I like 20 to 30 minutes and I was waiting for this movie to be done with. And there's not going to be any after credit scenes. There's not going to be a lot of surprises that's going to make your jaw drop and it's going to keep people talking. No, it's going to be forgettable. And after this movie, it made me lose faith in this upcoming film that they got another one from Sony called Craven the Hunter with Aaron Taylor Johnson. I don't have faith in it whatsoever. They keep butchering these Marvel characters outside of Spider-Man with the whole Spider-Verse movies. They kept butchering these characters and they keep doing them dirty. I mean, you had some great material, but you just don't know how to use them. And it felt so lazy. And also, the writers who have written this movie, the same people that written Morbius, same people that written the 2017's Power Rangers reboot, which it's not one of their worst work, but it's definitely not one of their best. Then written Gods of Egypt, which I could not get past like 15 minutes of the film. It was so bad. And it's got a lot of backlash from critics and audiences. And two films that got a lot of backlash from critics and audiences, which I haven't seen, but it's The Last Witch Hunter with Vin Diesel and Dracula Untold. So I don't know what Sony was going through their heads that they feel like it was the right decision to hire the same shitty writers to write a material like this. I don't know if it was just some studio interference that and didn't let the director make the movie that she wanted to make. I don't know if that's the case. The story might come out. We'll wait and see. But judging from this, it just felt so lazy and it didn't look like they tried hard enough to make a good comic book film, and it was poorly executed. Now, look, comparing to Madam Web and the MCU's The Marvels, I did not like the Marvels movie at all. I didn't like that film. But at least they tried to make it work and make the best movie they could, and it just did not turn out as well as we've hoped. But from this movie, they look like they didn't try. I mean, we can talk shit about the Amazing Spider-Man 2 from Mark Webb that came out 10 years ago. I didn't love the film. It's my least favorite Spider-Man movie, but at least they tried to make the best movie they could, even though it was a big steaming mess. It just looked like they didn't really try, and it just felt super lazy, and it looks like it's gonna flop big time at the box office. I'm pretty sure they have a lot of ideas what they want to do with the sequels, but it doesn't look like it's gonna happen anytime soon. There's no way I can defend this movie at all. And also, one thing I want to mention that there's a lot of product placements that was placed in this movie, and the one major product placement that plays a plot device is Pepsi. That's a big hint. And if you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about, and you would laugh your ass off about that whole product placement. They just throw that shit in your face. Look, overall, I just completely thought that this movie fell on its face big time. And it's a 2-hour movie that I will never get back because that's how bad this movie really is. And I will never watch that film again. And if I were to watch this movie again, I would watch it with a group of people and watch the reaction and laugh my ass off and make fun of it. Or if I do a watch along video one day, like I wanted to have faith in the Sonyverse movies that they can get back on track, but it just gives me a reason to not have faith in Kraven the Hunter. And I especially do not have any faith in Venom 3 because I hated the first two movies. Look, I don't want to like shit on people that really enjoy the first two Venom movies because I know people that really enjoy them and they're excited for the third movie, but I'm one of the people that did not because they kept butchering these popular Spider-Verse characters big time and I just did not give a shit. Now, have you seen Madam Web? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you agree with me or do you disagree with me? And tell me why you defend this movie, even though I don't know how you're going to defend this movie at all, and I don't see any of you try to defend it. But hey, if you enjoyed it, let me know what you thought in the comment section. If you like this video, make sure you leave it a like, share this video, and subscribe to my channel for more videos to come. And thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate your guys' support and helping me grow my channel. I understand that making movies is very hard to make, so don't get me wrong. But if I don't like something, I'm gonna give my honest criticism. And yes, I am gonna criticize the writers and directors' performance in their work. And if you don't criticize their performance, then they're not learning anything and they're going to keep coming back and making the same mistakes over and over again. And that's why you're going to keep getting more stinkers after another. I understand that it's very hard to make and it would be a miracle that the movie turns out great. But even if it doesn't turn out well, at least you did your best. And that's what I will always respect, even from films that I don't like, but I will acknowledge that they did the best they can to make a good movie. This movie did not feel like they even tried at all. But that's all I got to say. I hope you guys have a great day, great evening, wherever you're from. I hope you guys stay safe and take care.